Welcome to another exciting episode of The Biz Show, sponsored by InvestQuire. And now your host, Barry and Lisa.
Hi, Barry. How are you today?
Lisa, I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I didn't get blown away this morning on my walk with Luca. It's really
It
windy
is
out there.
very windy out here today. That is definitely for sure. Um, a lot of planes have been grounded and stuff like that. So you're flying out today, aren't you?
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
there was some issues with air travel, but I'm actually driving out of town this time, so I'm not taking any planes, thankfully, if that
Oh,
is the
okay.
case. But hopefully everybody arrives where they're headed safely and they're not too
Well,
inconvenienced. But yeah, my allergies are kicking up, and I was telling my friend it's like the Wizard of Oz windy. I'm like, hopefully nobody blows away.
well, yeah. As a private pilot, all the small aircraft is grounded right now. So in
Oh,
commercial aircraft, I'm not sure about what's going on there, but I
yeah,
know that there's no way that any smaller planes are going to be able to take off in this wind. There was a
yeah.
time when I remember I was coming back from Northern California down here to Southern California. It was really, really windy like this. And I was landing up in Lancaster up at Willis J. Fox Airport. And the wind was blowing so hard that when I came in for a landing, I literally touched down, rolled 5 feet, and stopped.
Rolled the plane?
The wheels, when we literally landed and went 5 feet and stopped because the wind was so forceful. It just stopped us like that.
Oh, wow. That must
It
have been
was
a little
like,
bit
whoa,
scary. Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Well, let's jump
hopefully.
into things today.
So we're
Um,
talking about exit strategies some more, right? We're continuing that conversation.
yeah, we got a three-part series. This is part two. It's episode 12, and it's basically exit strategies and how to prepare your business for a sell. Right? There's we have about 7 different steps that we want to make sure that our clientele gets out there and understands what. How do you prepare for the sell?
I was just saying the reason why we want to give you all of this information on these podcasts about exit strategies is because it's similar to planning a retirement. So when you're in a career and working for a corporation as an employee, of course you're planning your retirement with regards to your job, right? And so you're putting money away in your pensions and your 401ks, and you're actually thinking about what year you're planning to retire and what makes sense for you financially. And we want you to do that when you're a business owner so that you can prepare yourself to sustain the lifestyle that you're used to living. And there's some prep work that needs to be done. And that's why these podcasts are so important. And we hopefully you'll be able to take some nuggets out of it and start thinking about your business differently.
Yeah, it is similar to retirement. You're going to sell your business, and in selling your business, what are you selling it for, right? You might be retiring, you might be selling it because you're just ready to move on. You might be having a family member or somebody else coming in and taking the business over. So there's various different reasons, but we want to make sure that you set the business up properly for success in the sell.
Right. So I guess the first point would be to define your timeline or your goal around when you plan on exiting the business.
Yeah,
Is that right,
so
Barry?
so yes, goals and a timeline. You need to put those in place. And goals, you know, is basically why you're going to retire. What's your exit strategy, and then work on a plan to put that in place. And understand that those things take time, right? A plan for exit strategy should not be 1 month prior to the sell. It should be you know, perhaps a year or 6 months, a year prior to that. Especially if you're going to have somebody take the business over and they're going to be your successor, you need to start training them on selling or on running the business, right?
I guess in some instances you could get really lucky and you could get approached with somebody that wants to buy it or acquire your business, and then you could exit out maybe without having a plan. But for the most of us, we want you to make sure that you define your plan and your goal and start doing the preparatory work to exit your business and maximize the sale price, right?
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
like when we
Just
sell
remember it
houses,
takes time. Yeah.
right?
And really, let's mention that for a second, right? Selling houses and selling businesses are completely different, right? In
Mhm.
selling a house, Lisa, how long does a house take to sell on average?
Oh, well, right now it's about 21 days. Sometimes we sell it in 3 days. It just depends on the product, right? And the price point. But yeah, the market's been really healthy and definitely the lack of inventory has made the days on market a lot shorter. But when you're selling a business, it's a lot longer process.
Right, right. So there's no way that we're going to get 3 days in selling a business unless you got a unicorn sitting out there, right?
Yep,
And mostly we're looking closer to 60 to 90 days in selling a business.
right. And
That's
that's the
just
short end.
average.
It
Right,
could
right.
take a
That's the
lot longer.
average. It could.
Yes.
It depends on whether the terms are realistic and if all the ducks are in a row and the customers have gotten us everything that we need to be able to sell it.
And there's been a couple clients that come to us with a fire sale, right? We have clients that come to us with a fire sale because they see their business declining and they want to get out before that happens and it affects their personal finances and personal situation. And so that's why this podcast is so important for all of you to listen to, because we don't want that to happen to you. We don't want you to have to do a fire sale. We want you to get the most out of your business and sell it, and make sure that you're very, very diligent in planning when you want to exit and sell it at the highest price possible. So Barry, let's get into it, right? What can they do to sell for the highest price possible and to prepare for their exit?
Well, besides all the planning that we just talked about, the next step is going to be about financials and clean books, right? So making
Hmm.
sure that you meticulously organize your accounting and then it's up to date. You've taken care of all the discrepancies and any outstanding debts or things like that. At least they've been addressed. You might not have taken care of them, but we know what they are. We know how they get to be handled.
And if that's not your strength, doing your own books, I would suggest hiring a bookkeeper or a payroll company. And we do have names and vendors for you if you wanted a referral for somebody. But it's worth the investment because, like Barry pointed to, it's so important to have a clear picture of your books if you want to be able to attract a buyer and also achieve a high sale price. So there's truth in numbers, and we'll help you evaluate your company so the numbers reflect in your favor when it's coming time to sell. But yes, please keep really good, accurate books and show all of your numbers and clientele and accounts receivables and accounts payable on your books.
Yeah, buyers, they want to know what the numbers are, right? They're not going to buy a business if they can't see what the business makes. And we've always asked
Right.
for 3 to 5 years worth of numbers and financials so that we can get a picture and a trend, right? Trending is important, and that's something also that we're going to talk about here shortly about future forecasts and stuff like that. But we
I
want to
mean,
make sure that your financials are in line.
yes. And personally, I mean, as a self-employed contractor, 1099, I mean, keeping my books is so important when it comes to tax time, because if I'm scrambling at the last minute, inputting expenses and whatnot, I mean, it only creates stress and perhaps you're missing something and then you're paying more to the government. So it is so important, just keep it going and have some processes and systems in place so that you're not having to scramble or figure numbers out at the last minute when it comes time to selling your business. So similar, like I guess we can use an analogy, like if you're going to sell your car, what do? You wash the car, you clean the inside out, you polish the wheels and make them look all shiny. You want your leather, smelling good, and put some oil and freshening up the leather seats, right? So we want you to clean the inside of your business, which could be the numbers and the books and tidying up um, your accounting. And we also want you to clean the outside. So we want you to present your business in its best light, right?
Lisa, that is an awesome analogy, right? So in selling your car, yeah, you're going to clean it all up. You're going to vacuum it out. You're going to, take it to the car wash and get it cleaned and probably waxed and detailed. Need to do the same
Right.
thing with your business.
Hmm.
Yeah. Let's talk about
Absolutely.
let's talk about step number three, right? And that's basically strengthening your team. And what does
So
that
who's your
mean?
team? Right.
Yeah, who is your team, right? Well, that's part of your employees and stuff like that, right? And making sure that your team has all the resources and the tools that they need to be able to do their job successfully, especially in your absence. Because when you leave and a new buyer comes in, you're going to be absent, right? You've departed the company. So,
Yes, and
so
we
you want
don't
to
want
make sure so you want to
right.
make sure you have a plan in place that so when you hand over the reins, that the new business owner has employees who know what they're doing.
Yes, employee morale too, and they're actually happy working there so that they could continue on with the new owner.
Well, and for all intents and purposes, a lot of times when businesses are acquired or mergers happen, employees stick around, right? So that they're part of the sell. And then at
They're
some
hoping to.
point down the line, the company may decide to make some changes, but at least initially starting out, nothing's going to change, right? Everybody stays doing
Right.
what they're doing and just trying to make sure that the business is successful while the new owners are figuring out what's our new plan, what's our new vision, which direction are we heading.
So again, that could involve some preparatory training of your employees or productivity coaching to get them to be able to utilize their maximum potential. And again, if you need to invest in a coach or putting some great systems in place for your employees to follow a structure of how to do their job the best way and the most efficient way, we offer those services as well. So that could be something that you want to invest in with regards to planning to exit your business and as part of your exit strategy. So again, being a business owner entails wearing many, many hats. So if you find that you have a lack of time to devote to, strengthening your team, we have services for that, right?
We do. And one last thing on that, right, is the succession plan. If you plan on, having somebody, say, in the family take the business over, you need to start training them about the business and all the different faucets and assets of, marketing and sales and the customers and things like that, which really kind of rolls into the
Right.
next item about customers, right? So you want to make sure you've got
Hmm.
a clean book of customers and your customer relationships and diversification are very, very important. And here's why.
Diversification,
So
very important.
yeah, your customers are who pays the bills, right? So as they come in, they're giving you money, and you got to, you're making payroll with that, you're paying yourself with that. The company is thriving with the money that comes in from the customers. So you want to make sure that you put it, you have your customer lists in place, and you might want to identify who are your best customers, your medium customers, your lower end customers, because the new owner is going to need to know that stuff, right? So they know where to focus attention. I mean, they should focus attention on all customers no matter what. But there are some that might need immediate needs. Maybe you've got some projects going on with customers that when they take over, they need to jump right into, right? So we want to make sure that
Right.
the other thing is
Right.
don't put yes, exactly. And the other thing is don't put all your eggs in one basket. So,
Hmm.
I'm going to tell you a story here, right? It's a story that is a true story that happened when I took over a company. They had three customers. One of them left. It was their biggest customer. Paid them over $100,000 a year. I mean, I'm sorry, $100,000 a month. They left, and that left them holding the bag with the other two customers, making about 10 grand a month, which was not sustainable. So they had a lot of their eggs put into that customer. So when I came in and took over, one of the first things I did is kind of diversified that. And it's like, look, let's focus on small customers, right? Let's get 100 customers that we're getting $1,000 a month out of instead of one big customer that we're getting 100,000 out. Because if that one customer leaves, you got nothing. If you've got 100 customers and you're getting $1,000 out of, then if one leaves, guess what? you're making $99,000, right? Or 98 or
Yeah, don't get
97.
Yeah, don't get too comfortable with that book of business because there's ebbs and flows and things change for, everyone, all parties that are, involved in your business, whether it's a client or an employee. So don't get too comfortable with things being stable. Things are always changing and make sure that you stay ahead of that curve and diversify. Like Barry said, diversification is so important that you're constantly feeding the pipeline or doing marketing around attracting new business, right? Maybe the diversification part is really something that you're not thinking about because you're just running the business like a well-oiled machine every single day, but you really want to branch out and think of new ways to get new business and have a really large book of business and large diversified clientele. So broaden your business, broaden your client list.
Well, everybody wants that. You're right. But that said, everything changes. So it's rare that a company is going to have a customer for 20 years, the same customer, right? Customers, they're going to go where there's less pressure, less pain points. That might be price, it might be communications. Who knows what it's going to be? But the customers come and go all the time. There's actually a term for that called attrition, right? So you should be keeping brand new customers coming in the front door because there are customers heading out the back door. And so in order to
Right.
keep
Right.
book of business, you need to have a certain amount of flow coming in to compensate for the flow heading out. But if you're smart, you should analyze why is the flow heading out the back door, and see if you can't fix that, or at least slow that trickle
Yeah.
down. You're probably never going to end it, but at least you could slow it down.
Yeah, and just like we said, keeping your team strong and happy, make sure you're keeping your client relationships and customers happy, right? Maybe providing them some discounts here and there so you don't lose the business to a competitor.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that
And that could
are
be a podcast
available.
we can do
It,
that.
it
Maybe
really
we should
could,
do a
yeah.
podcast around customer satisfaction and client relationships, right?
I think we have one down the line, probably like number 20, 25, or somewhere down there. I think that those are coming up. I mean, my God, we had a total of 89 podcasts lined up, and we're only into number 11 right now. So we got a ways to
That'll be a
go.
fun one. I can't wait. Yeah,
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
Well, let's talk about step five, right? So, step five for us would really be to optimize your business, your operations, and your processes. And what does that mean? Well, it means streamlining and looking for opportunities, and streamlining the operations to fit that. However, you might not have the bandwidth to be able to streamline or that ever. So, what you just have a plan, right? So see that you've identified it and that you have a plan, so that way perhaps when the new owner or your successor takes over, they got a plan they can run with, and modify it as they go. But if you have a plan, at least they know you've identified that, and that it can be addressed at some point. It might not be addressed today, but it can be addressed somewhere down the road.
Right. Take a
Um,
glance at your expenses and the ways that you could cut corners and maybe save some money so that you're increasing your profit.
Well, yeah, and you said something there that I think that's interesting, and I've seen this many times, especially in the mergers and acquisitions. Um, I'll see a company that, for it seems like no reason at all of a sudden they're doing a bunch of layoffs, and I'm like, okay, so what's going on here? They're laying a bunch of people off. Well, really, what they're doing is they're starting a year prior to streamline their books and cut costs. And so what happens is they lay people off so that they can look good on paper, because their payroll's not that um, big as it used to be. And unfortunately, the employees that are left behind, they kind of have to pick up the slack on that to keep the company momentum going. But then a year later, now they're for sale, right? They're on they're put the business up for sale. It looks really good on paper, but it's missing stuff. It's missing employees, right? There's the employees that are currently there. They're overworked. They're tired. They're disgruntled. because guess what? They were in a division that might have had 20 people, and now it's got 7. But those 7 people are still doing the job of 20 people.
Yeah, and what happens? I mean, you're cutting your employees and reducing your your overall overhead and costs of having salaries paying out to your employees' wages, but you're also going to be suffering the consequences of that and having less productivity happen, and probably it's going to affect the profitability also of your company because you're not able to put out the work that those employees were in charge of doing. So you're maybe thinking that you're
Let's
cutting
face it.
costs and showing a bigger number. There's going to be a consequence to that. So really think that through, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Takes a team.
And the consequences are customer satisfaction because that's going to suffer,
Hmm. That's going to definitely
right?
have a not a happy result.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
scalability, that you want to scale
Yeah.
your company for future growth. So maybe that means hiring more employees, right? Because you want to have future growth and really make that number uh, part of the exit strategy number that you're looking for when you are going to sell your business. So you want to make sure that if you need to scale up and hire more employees so you can produce more product or service more clients, then that would be a part of the equation.
I had a conversation literally just maybe a couple weeks back with a customer who we
Yeah.
had that same conversation. Hey, I'm thinking about selling the business. I don't know, but I might want to hire a few people, but I don't know. I might want to also let a few people go. What's the right thing to do? And that's a tough question to answer. And I did not have enough information from them to really give them a solid answer. But the rule of thumb is this: whatever's going to make your business look profitable and whatever's going to make it look good to a potential buyer, that's what you should do, right? So if you
Hmm.
need to hire more employees so that you can get this other book of business, absolutely do that.
Right.
So let's talk about the
Very.
next one.
Hmm.
So the legal part of it, right, and the regulatory compliance. So you want to make sure that you have gone through and you get your business licenses are in line. If you're a corporation, all your things, your articles of incorporation, and all that stuff are in place and accurate and up to date. You also want to make sure that if you got any compliances going on, that those are taken care of and they're current.
Right.
I, I
That's
found a
part of
lot
the
of
books,
times
right?
we got one customer that I was just looking at their corporation, and their corporation was suspended, brought back, suspended, brought back. It looks like it was more of a counting error, but
Oh,
at
wow.
the end of the day, it's on paper, it's there. You can see that their corporation was suspended for a week, but then it was brought back. So sounds like probably payroll or not. I'm sorry, not payroll, but accounting probably didn't pay the bill on time.
Not a good thing.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah, so
not.
then
But those are things that people need to pay attention to.
and make sure you have those records. Some of them you may not know where they are. So if you have to order another copy from the county or the state, I mean, get that all in alignment, like you're putting together a nice binder presentation as you would, want to receive if you were on the buying end. Like if you were buying a company, what would you want? So think in the terms of a buyer and prepare all of your documents, make them be very organized and we have a list of required docs that it takes to actually sell your business. So if you want that in advance, we can give that to you as part of your exit strategy planning.
I think, yeah, we should. And here's the deal. I've been in mergers where the walking in, we don't know anything about the company really. Um, we don't know. I mean, we know what type of legal entity it is, but we don't know what's current, what's not current. It, in that merger, really, they were looking for the company product and the customer base. That's all they really cared about. So the rest of it, they were going to get rid of anyway. But
Right.
uh,
Right. But the next step is a
so
fun one to talk about marketing and branding. This is fun, right? We want to make sure that when you are handing
It
over your
is,
book of
and
business to a buyer and you're ready to dollar, you're giving them a story about your business and showing them how you got the clients in the first place through your marketing efforts, right? Marketing is huge. If you're not doing any marketing, you're probably not maximizing your numbers.
well,
So
true,
highlight that, right?
and you do need to highlight that, and also you need to highlight what's your competitive edge. So, for instance, you hear me talk all the time about us at InvestQuire, right? What's our competitive edge based off of the other business brokers? Well, guess what? We have management, business, and technology services,
Know what your
and
value
we,
proposition is.
yeah, and we stay behind and we help new buyers if they so choose to fill in knowledge gaps and things like that. So,
Yep.
it's always good
That's part of my
to
interview
make
process
sure
with a
you
client is
it's always
most
good to make
definitely
sure that so let's talk about the
always good
next
to
one,
make
right? So
sure.
assemble your sales team. Who's that? That's us, right? Assembling your sales team. Um, not just us, but your CPAs, your attorneys, right? So when you're selling the business, these are the people that need to work with one another in order to sell your business, right? Especially if you got real estate and everything else, then there's going to be additional escrow paperwork and things like that. And so you want to make sure that you get everybody lined up and on the same page. And it really makes sense to have all three of them talking to one another.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we want to know who is part of your team also, so that those people could transition with the new buyer too in part of your sales team, that you're, part of your team that is helping your business run and making your books be very organized. All aspects of your business, we want to know all about it. So that's part of the intake process of, me and Barry walking in and representing you as your business broker. We definitely want to be a part of the team and part of the process for the exit strategy of selling your company for top dollar, and making sure that we make the selling process very a smooth and wonderful experience for you.
Just keep in mind that, selling your business is not a destination, it's a journey, right? So you're starting at the beginning when you open the business. You've got all these strategies and plans that you have that you're implementing and putting in place so that you can get to the destination, but it's a journey along the way. So,
Yeah, and that would be a really good thing if you do follow these steps and take some of these suggestions and recommendations around planning ahead. Planning your exit strategy ahead. It will really make the process fun and make it smooth and make you have the results that you really, desire at the end of the day.
yeah, exactly. All right. Well, that wraps it up for us today. I want to thank everybody for listening and for tuning in. Lisa and I are always available to answer questions. You can reach out to us at investquire.com. You can also get to us at the Biz Show, which is a Facebook group. So you can find us there. Please feel free to reach out. We're here to help you.
Yeah, we look forward to hearing from you and having you part of our audience on our next podcast. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
All right, guys, take it easy. Bye bye.
Bye.